Once a giant, always a giant. For me, it's only a giant.
What's going on YouTube, Diggy546? Definitely hit that subscribe button if you're new. Like the video if you like the video. And I won't tell if you click that bell. But let's go ahead and get into this. So Danny Shelton is now a New York Giant. He was the nose tackle last year for the Lions. Before that, he was on the Patriots, I think. Before that, he was on the Browns. So obviously you see that there is a Matt Patricia, Joe Judge connection because they coached together in New England. And Joe Judge was there in New England while Danny Shelton was there. So there's that connection too. He probably worked with him on special teams. I imagine there was some special teams, whether it be field goal block. I doubt you want him running it on the kick return or, blocking or anywhere downfield for too long. But probably in the field goal block, probably somewhere around that. So he probably was involved in the special teams. So Joe Judge knows who he is. Even if he wasn't involved in that, he knows who he is as a person because he was a coach on the team. And even if you're not using him in special teams packages, you have to know his skill set and you have to know who he is in order to use him, in case you need to use him. So Joe Judge knows who he is first off. Second, he was teammates with John Ross and Dante Pettis in college. So he has that familiarity right there. And just real quick about him, he's a big guy. He's a plugger. Vince Wilfork is pretty much made everybody famous for that. Stick the biggest person in the middle of the defensive line and just you're not going to run there. You're not going to be able to run there. And then it's bad enough that, he's 350, 6'2", 350. And then you line up right next to him, Dexter Lawrence, 6'4", 340. And then on the other side is Leonard Williams at about 315, 316. So he's obviously the lightest. But it doesn't really matter because he's a dominant run stuffer. So all three of those guys beside each other is going to be very similar to Dalvin being at that nose tackle position. And I hate to say it because we all love Dalvin Tomlinson, but it seems like this might be a better move economically because if we'd have paid Dalvin, 12, 13 million to do pretty much the exact same thing that Shelton is about to do for about $1 million, I just don't see the value other than just retaining what you believe is a good player that you took in the second round a couple of years ago. Shelton is going to do everything that Dalvin does. He's probably not going to be as mobile. You're not going to see him working down the line and, tracking ball carriers across the field. You're not going to get those type of plays because he's just too big to really move laterally, on a consistent basis. But he will be able to plug up that run. You're going to see a lot of those stands on short yardage. You stick him beside Dexter Lawrence, good luck running into that wall. I just don't see. There's not many offensive linemen walking around that are 340, that are even 330. There's a couple, but there's not many walking around that are 340, 350. So having to deal with them, especially if they, are lined up right beside each other, is going to be very difficult. So that's going to make life much easier for the linebackers at all levels. First off, Blake Martinez and whoever's behind, whoever's beside Blake Martinez, it's going to be very easy for them to be able to stay clean, make tackles, do whatever they have to do. And then the linebackers on the edges, Lorenzo Carter, whoever we draft, if they're out there, whoever we need to go after, and whoever's going to be on that edge for us, whether it be Zimenez, Carter, whoever. We just picked up someone else from the Redskins. I'm not really a fan of his game, but whoever we line up on the outside, their life is going to be so much more easier because you have so much. That's 700 pounds right there. Those two guys are 700 pounds beside each other, and they're not just a dead weight 700 pounds. They're 700 pounds who can lift more than, what they are. So good luck moving that. And then you have Leonard Williams beside them, who's also a ferocious run stuffer. So I think this just keeps our run defense at the very worst the same, and potentially we could be better in the run game next year than we were last year. And that's no slight to Dalvin Tomlinson. It's just physics. It's just, the dude is a big guy. So I love this signing. I think this is a big brain move from the staff because we could have paid a guy, $10 million more to do pretty much the same job. And I think we didn't want to invest all of that money into Leonard Williams, have a first round pick on that same line, and then invest, 12, 13 million on Dalvin Tomlinson. It makes perfect sense because at that point you're investing what? Like 35 million, including Dexter Lawrence. You're probably investing about 35, 36 million just on that defensive line, and none of them are edge rushers. So I have no problem with that at all. If we can get a dominant edge rusher in the draft, if we, someone falls to us, if we do go after Ryan Kerrigan, I expect him to be very productive because you're going to have to double that. I mean, especially if you do something where you're going to have to double Leonard Williams, right? And then you have to double a guy who's 350, 340. So the guys on the edge are going to get singled. And then if they're good, you're going to have to double them. And the guys in the middle are going to be pushing the pocket because they're just so big. So everything about this makes perfect sense. Joe Judge obviously knows who this guy is. He coached them. And I think this is just going to make our defense that much better just because of the size of this dude. I mean, you have to account for him as soon as you see him line up. Great signing. So on top of that, when you look at the rest of the line, they all work off of each other. You got the two big guys. You got Leonard Williams, who can be that big guy, kind of run stuff or roll, and can also get some pass rush going. This allows us to keep Dexter Lawrence at defensive end, which I love because he's nimble enough to play defensive end, even at 340 pounds. Not a 4-3 defensive end, but 3-4 defensive end. He can still continue to play that role, still, be an attacking kind of defensive end, which I did not want to move him from. He's not going to be a nose tackle for us. Maybe in a couple sets he'll be, but most of the time he will not be that defensive tackle for us. That nose tackle, to say the zero tech right over the center. He's not going to have to do that. So I'm excited about that. And then also when you look at the draft, we were looking at Aleem McNeil. I was looking at a dude, Tyler Shelvin, who's another guy who's 350, 360, and he has some kind of weight concerns. Some people thought that, he'd go up to 370, 380. So Tyler Shelvin was my answer to this because of how big he was and how good he is against the run. But bringing in Danny Shelton means I don't really see where we need to attack the interior of the defensive line. I just don't see it. I mean, you look at the team, you've got your three starters who I think can be really, really great. Really great, just the three starters. And then you look at Austin Johnson, and then you look at B.J. Hill, who I believe could have also started for us. Those two guys could have also started if, we had to move Dexter Lawrence to defensive tackle, to nose tackle. Those guys could have started for us. And then you add an R.J. McIntosh, a great rotational piece. So maybe we look to address that interior D-line, fourth round or later. I don't want to look at it anywhere in the top 3 rounds. This allows us to go best player available first round, second round. We don't have to. I like Aleem McNeil a lot, but I don't think that drafting him here makes sense. I just don't see it. I don't think that he's worth. I think he's worth that pick, but I don't see taking Aleem McNeil in the second round when we have 3 starters that I feel really, really good about. I feel really good about their run stuffing, and then the pass rush that's going to take care of itself because of the space that they're going to eat up there. So this is all up to Leonard Williams on this defensive line. He's going to have to continue to be our pass rusher until we get some help, on the edges. But for now, he's going to be that pass rush presence inside. And let's be real. A lot of times we have 2 of those defensive tackles on the field anyway, or 1 because you're in the nickel or you're in the dime because people like to throw the ball. So that nose tackle position isn't as valued as it once was. He's not going to be playing, even 70% of the snaps. So great signing for a rotational player. And when I say rotational player, he's going to be a starter in our base defense, but you're in the nickel most of the time. As I said, you're going to probably have Leonard Williams and Dexter Lawrence there. And then your 2 guys on the edge, whether that be Lorenzo Carter or Shane Zimenez. I'm hoping that we go after Ryan Kerrigan. If we can get him on an affordable deal, I would love to watch Ryan Kerrigan harass Washington because we own them. So if we can get someone like that on the edge, I think the defense just takes that extra step. And I haven't even mentioned the secondary yet, and I haven't even mentioned the linebackers, even if we just roll out Reggie Ragland and Blake Martinez, I think linebacker is still a strength. So let me know what you guys think of this signing. I like it a lot. I think he's an experienced player who's going to come in and do his job, which is stopping the run, taking up space. And you always need guys like that on your team. You always need role players who just come in and do their job. I'm a day late with this, but I definitely love the signing. Let me know what you guys think. So if you made it this deep into the video, I'm calling you a D6 squad member. If you're a D6 squad member, you got to hit that subscribe button. You got to turn on that notification bell. And listen, I make all kinds of content for NFL teams. So if you're not a Giants fan, don't worry. I'll cover your team. If I'm not covering your team, let me know. And have a good one.